Hi, in this video I will show you what is a texture atlas, how to use it, and its pros and cons. I'll be using GIMP, but you can use any other image editing software. A texture atlas is a single image that contains others inside of it. It's mostly used for games as a way to optimize resources and file size. If you take a 4K texture, it has 4096 pixels in this direction and 4096 pixels in this direction. This basically means that we can fit up to 4 2K textures in each corner. We're basically splitting a 4K texture, in this case, in 4. You might be wondering, can I use a smaller resolution? And yeah, you can, but anything lower than 2K and you start to lose a lot of detail. If you split a 2K image in 4, each corner will be 1K resolution. You can split each corner more to fit something that does not need a whole lot of detail. Let's go for the pros of this technique. This allows us to use less texture files in general, reducing resources and space, which are both really good, especially for mobile games and larger scenes that have a lot of assets on them. Another really cool thing about it is that you can use it to create already textured models, like this Viking house that I'll show you in a time lapse at the end of this video. UVs are not very important because we just need to move them to a place that makes sense in the atlas. That's usually good enough. To sum this all up, we have less files, less resources being used, and faster modeling, due to not needing special UVs. For the cons, maybe the biggest thing is that you need to take some time to make the atlas in the first place. You need to get all of your textures and align them to the corners. This is not very time consuming, but if you want to edit part of your atlas, you need to export it again and update it on whatever software you're using. This is a bit more annoying than it sounds because we're usually dealing with 3 images from material. So we have diffuse, roughness or specular, and a normal map, maybe even metallic, and emissive. Also, if you need to tile your textures, you need to tile them before exporting, so we don't tile the whole atlas. You also can't really apply this to any model and just expect it to work. If you haven't changed the UVs to fit a corner, it will probably look like a mess. But then again, if you model while using it, you don't really have this problem. Let's finally get to making it. Go to File, New, and create a 4K image. If this shows up, just click OK. Drag and drop the textures of your material into the canvas. Create a folder and drag the images to it. Keep it in this order: diffuse, rough, and lastly normal. If you have a metallic and emissive, I will show you how to deal with those a bit later on. Select the image on the canvas and press Key on your keyboard to use the Align tool and align it to the corner using these buttons. Now just repeat this process for all of your materials. I want to fit a few more textures. I also need to tile the cobblestone. I'll split a corner just for that. You'll see me tiling the cobblestone by duplicating the folder a bunch of times. There's probably a better way of doing this, but I don't know how as I don't use GIMP very often. A friendly reminder, don't forget to save. The reason why we kept that order is to make it easier to export it. This is now our diffuse map, so go to File, Export As, and save it in its own folder. After that, go ahead and turn off the visibility for diffuse on all the materials. If the order is right, we now have a roughness map. Export that and do the same for the normal map. If you have a metallic material like I do here, create a black solid and put the metal folder on top of it. Now just turn off the normal visibility and we now have our metallic map. Remember that white is metallic and black is non-metallic. You can follow the same black solid process for emissive maps as well. We now have our texture atlas material. I will show you how to use it in Blender and leave you with the time lapse. Let's use the forgotten default cube. Select it, Go to the shading workspace and select the principal shader. If you named your texture with diffuse, rough and normal at the end, you can press Ctrl+Shift+T to select all of your textures and plug them in automatically. If it doesn't work, you can manually add the images by pressing Shift-A and searching for image texture. Remember to set all the textures but the diffuse as non-color. Go to UV editing workspace and select the diffuse up here. Get to preview mode by pressing Z and selecting the material preview. This is how you use the texture. If you want a wooden cube, drag, rotate or scale the cube UV to the wood part or any other part of the texture. That's pretty much all there is to it. There is a thing called trim textures. It's very similar but it's mostly used for circular objects. That will be a topic for another video. You can download the Viking House blend and the Atlas on Gumroad for free. If I helped you and you want to tip me a coffee, feel free to do so. Now, enjoy the time lapse.